Parents need to be more precautious of what their children have in their bags.
Her 11-year-old son Ty says there's no way he'd bring a knife to school, not for all the money in the world.
I would actually not, even if somebody paid me $1 million to do it. It's dumb to do, and two, you can get in a lot of trouble.
And he did. The student, whose age isn't being released, is described as a white male. He was expelled by the school.
There you have it, folks. A child brings a knife to an elementary school in Fort Myers and he is expelled. And even an 11-year-old knew better than to bring a knife to school or to a school sporting event. So before you tell me, while you watch this video, that they're only expelling Carmelo Anthony because he's black, I just debunked that at the beginning of the video. Hi guys, my name is Samantha. This video is going to explain to you why Carmelo Anthony got expelled. Believe it or not, it had nothing to do with the death of Austin Metcalf.
I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a two-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution.
It just hit me, folks. It just hit me that what Carmelo Anthony's family is doing is getting people used to hearing a fair trial. They're being discriminated against, racial hatred, so that when their son is found guilty, they have a reason to riot. They have a reason to say he never got a fair trial. It's called predictive programming. Touche to the attorney. Because let me explain something to you. Listen to this clip.
By making this decision that they do not have to make. So the Next Generation Action Network, outside of the legal process, will be going through different avenues regarding to ensure that we fight for the rights of Carmelo Anthony. Okay? So in the next coming days, we will be announcing to the public. We will do direct action outside of Frisco ISD administration office because this is outright wrong. You are getting involved in a process that even the legal process has asked us to respect.
This is Penal Code 46, clearly states it is a felony to bring a knife to a school and or a sporting event connected to a school. So that is the law of Texas. That is a penal code. In other words, you're either going to get a misdemeanor and or a felony for bringing a gun, a knife, a weapon to a public school and or sporting event. Now, for the public school system, from the superintendent down, any student bringing a gun, a knife, it is a mandatory expulsion for a minimum of 1 calendar year. It doesn't matter that Carmelo Anthony used the weapon against Austin Metcalf. It's got nothing to do with a student dying. It has to do with Carmelo Anthony's one sole behavior. He brought a weapon to a public school sporting event. Folks, we were actually demonetized. What does that mean? You may see a commercial on my video or several of them. I don't get a penny for that. Why? Because I made a liberal cry. They got angry. They said, we don't like your topics. We're not going to pay for them. But these are topics that need to be discussed. So if you appreciate someone being honest about what's going on, look in the top of comments, support our channel. A locked knife, which means a very large blade, not a little pocket knife that you open up. I'm talking about a knife, like a hunting knife. Yeah.
Guidance in the state and education code regarding expulsion of a student. We have asked several times. We didn't just rush. We have had these conversations over the last several days. And we have stated that it is just outright wrong to get involved in this.
Someone that was an educator for multiple years in the public school system. I've homeschooled and I've seeded a Christian Montessori school. Shame on you, you grifter, because those laws are there. Those punishments are there to stop other young Carmelo Anthonys from bringing weapons to school and to school events. You've asked because you want special treatment. You're trying to literally convince the black community to protest and riot outside of a school board because you want them to break their own rules.
But Carmelo Anthony is a 3.7 GPA student. And if he doesn't even go to class for the remainder of the year, he would graduate, okay? We've asked that Frisco do not make a decision in this situation.
Anybody with a critical mind would assume that a 17-year-old with a 3.7 GPA would have the common sense not to bring a weapon that is illegal with a felony charge as well as a 1-year expulsion to school or to a school sporting event. Now, here's what I don't understand, is why you think he should be excluded, especially after he committed murder with said weapon. Because see, sir, we in America believe in the Constitution. Y'all remember his mama saying that? Carmelo Anthony's mama? We believe in the Constitution, but you don't believe in law and order when it pertains to your child. And I hope, ma'am, somebody shows you this, because we all know that you weren't telling the truth. You come across really poorly on a camera.
At Frisco, do not make a decision in this situation. But Frisco ISD has notified of their intent to expel Carmelo Anthony from school 1 month before his high school graduation.
No, we all know you shook that baby. We all know you shook that baby. You're not shaking this one. That's why he's getting expelled. They want to mix and twist and turn all of this together so that uneducated, because anybody at this point that believes that Carmelo Anthony should not be expelled from school, you're uneducated. You're also you're racist, because any child that brings a knife to a school and or a school sporting event is going to be expelled. That is school board policy, folks. And the state of Texas can issue you a felony criminal charge for it, even if you don't use it. So all this crying about how Carmelo's not going to get a fair trial. Oh my gosh, look, even the school is coming after our baby. Is just prepping people, because you know one thing I can't find any video of this. You want to know why? You really want to know why? It's what I heard on TikTok, because it was a white boy and they don't want to show that because it's disturbing. No, they're not showing it. I can guarantee you it's because it's a black offender and they know without a doubt that he's guilty as hell. He's going down for it. So what's happening right now in the black community is prepping you guys for a summer of chaos, because the boy's going to be found guilty. There's no way a self-defense is going to fly, folks, and listen to this.
He has to establish that he reasonably feared for his life. You know, that's a steep hill to climb given the facts that I've heard so far, but that's the standard here in Texas. It is going to be incredibly difficult for Carmelo's defense team to establish that Austin, the 17-year-old who wanted Carmelo out of his tent represented a deadly threat or even serious bodily harm. Again, we don't know what was said. We don't know what was threatened. What Carmelo said was that he was going to put his hands on me. That's not he was going to kill me. That's not, I thought he was seriously going to hurt me. All he described was the potential for an offensive touching, which is not going to be enough without more. And the evidence is still coming in.
Because they are not releasing video, mainstream media has plenty of time to turn this into a racial war. Because let me tell you the things that don't make sense in this entire case. He brought a knife to school, a different school than Austin Metcalf. He had no idea he'd run into that boy that day. He sat under a tent he didn't belong in with a knife he shouldn't have had. Everybody knows he's guilty, so what is his parents doing? They shouldn't expel our baby. It's racist, it's racial, it's definitely racial. We're afraid of white people, but hey, we're gonna move into a white neighborhood. Make it make sense. Tell me what you think. Love you guys, like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. I think in all honesty, anybody that woke up that morning and put a knife knowing school policy, he knew the policy. He knew the policy. Put it in his bag, took it to school. He was going to use it on somebody. That's just the fact.